It was a crisp morning in the bustling city of Arcadia. The sunlight filtered through the tall courthouse windows, casting long shadows on the polished floors of Courtroom 7. Presiding over the day's cases was Judge Martin Harlow, a man in his late 40s, known for his sharp tongue and a reputation that teetered between respect and controversy. His courtroom demeanor was firm, some said too firm, and his judgments often came down harsher on those who didn't look like him. Today, though, was a day that would change everything. As the courtroom filled, murmurs rippled through the crowd when a poised and elegant black woman entered. Dressed in a simple navy blue suit, her confidence radiated as she took her seat at the defendant's table. Her name was Dr. Olivia Brooks, a respected law professor and civil rights advocate, though few in the room recognized her. She carried an aura of dignity that made her stand out. But to Judge Harlow, she was just another face in his courtroom. Judge Harlow banged his gavel, silencing the room. His piercing gaze scanned the docket before landing on Dr. Brooks. "Olivia Brooks," he said, his voice laced with skepticism, "you stand accused of parking violations and obstructing traffic in a no-stop zone. How do you plead?" Dr. Brooks rose gracefully, her voice calm yet firm. "Not guilty, Your Honor. The ticket issued was unwarranted, and I'd like the opportunity to present my case." Judge Harlow smirked, leaning back in his chair. He had seen this before, defendants trying to argue their way out of what seemed to him like an open-and-shut case. "A simple parking violation, and you want to make a case out of it?" he said, his tone dripping with condescension. "Let's not waste the court's time, Ms. Brooks." The courtroom tensed. Olivia didn't flinch. "With all due respect, Your Honor, I believe due process is never a waste of time." The judge's smirk faded, replaced by a flicker of irritation. He motioned for her to proceed, already dismissing her in his mind. Olivia presented her argument with clarity and precision. She explained how the no-stop zone was improperly marked, supported by photographs and witness statements. Her delivery was measured, confident, and professional, traits that irked Judge Harlow more than he cared to admit. "Ms. Brooks," he interrupted, "I understand you're trying to prove a point here, but this is a minor infraction. Perhaps a fine would be a better use of everyone's time." Olivia looked directly at him, her expression unyielding. "Your Honor, the principle of fairness applies to all cases, minor or otherwise. I'm sure you'd agree." Judge Harlow leaned forward, his tone now curt. "Let me make this simple. Pay the fine, and we can all move on with our day." Olivia paused, her gaze steady. "With respect, Your Honor, I decline to pay a fine for something I did not do." The tension in the room thickened. Judge Harlow's irritation boiled over. "Then I hereby impose a fine of $500 for the violation and an additional $200 for wasting the court's time," he declared, his gavel slamming down. Case closed. As the courtroom began to empty, Olivia remained composed, gathering her papers. Judge Harlow couldn't resist a parting shot. "Next time, Ms. Brooks, think twice before challenging authority." Olivia smiled, a calm and knowing expression crossing her face. "Authority, Your Honor, is built on a foundation of knowledge. And sometimes, authority forgets where that knowledge comes from." Confused by her cryptic response, Judge Harlow watched her leave, dismissing the interaction as the arrogance of someone unwilling to accept responsibility. He turned to his clerk to prepare for the next case. Later that afternoon, as he sifted through his files, Judge Harlow's phone buzzed. It was a message from a colleague with a link to an article. The headline read, "Dr. Olivia Brooks, renowned law professor, advocates for justice in the face of bias." His heart skipped a beat as he scrolled through the article, recognizing the woman in the photograph. Dr. Olivia Brooks wasn't just any law professor. She had been his law professor years ago, the one who had shaped his understanding of justice and the rule of law. Memories of her lectures flooded back, moments where she had challenged him to think critically, to uphold fairness above all else. The irony struck him like a thunderbolt. Harlow's mind raced. He recalled her composed demeanor in court, her deliberate choice of words, and her refusal to back down. It all made sense now. Her actions weren't about a parking violation. They were a mirror, reflecting his own prejudices and shortcomings. He felt a knot of shame tightening in his chest. Determined to address the situation, Harlow called for an emergency review of the case. By the next morning, Olivia was notified to return to court. This time, the atmosphere in the courtroom was markedly different. Harlow's usual air of superiority was replaced with a quiet humility. When Olivia arrived, she was met with curious glances. Harlow addressed her directly, his tone measured and sincere. "Dr. Brooks, upon reviewing your case, I've realized that I may have acted rashly. The fine has been rescinded, and I extend my apologies for any disrespect you may have felt in this courtroom." Olivia studied him for a moment before speaking. "Your Honor, it takes courage to admit when you're wrong. I hope this serves as a reminder of the power judges hold and the responsibility that comes with it." The courtroom was silent. Harlow nodded, her words cutting through his defenses. For the first time, he truly understood the weight of his role, not as a wielder of authority, but as a guardian of justice. As Olivia left the courthouse, her head held high, Harlow remained seated, lost in thought. He realized that justice wasn't just about laws and rulings. It was about humanity, fairness, and the willingness to learn from one's mistakes. The story of Dr. Olivia Brooks and Judge Martin Harlow spread, becoming a symbol of accountability and the importance of confronting bias within the justice system. For Harlow, it marked the beginning of a transformation, a commitment to do better, to be better. And for Olivia, it was another step in her lifelong journey to ensure that justice was not just a word, but a practice. Her unyielding resolve reminded everyone that even the mightiest systems could be challenged, and even the most flawed individuals could change. In the end, the tale wasn't just about a judge and a professor. It was a reminder that true authority isn't about power, it's about integrity.